Tonight on TV47 Weekend Edition Her Say segment, we discuss reproductive health and hygiene. Just how should a woman take care of her vaginal health? That conversation shall come your way shortly, but first, let's take a look at the highlights.
Damu ya vijana haitaenda bure. Tutaenda na watu mpaka mwisho.
Raila attends burial of victims of police brutality, insists IG Japheth Koome must go. I support the talks, but
again, mambo ya handshake, nusu mkate, hiyo ni mambo ambayo hayawezekani. Hiyo ni ndoto ya mchana. It's not possible.
DP Gachagua says he supports Kenya Kwanza as a mere dialogue. He, however, insists there is no room for handshake. And President William Ruto urges African countries to eliminate barriers to trade in order for investors to exploit opportunities in the continent.
They will also expedite the instrument that will bring COMESA, SADC, and EAC into one trading bloc.
Welcome to the broadcast. We're glad you could join us. And that conversation I just mentioned on reproductive health and hygiene, which we shall be having later on this broadcast. When we get there, you can call in live, on 0768-095-491. That's our number. You can engage us on social media at TV47 News on Twitter, TV47 Kenya on Facebook, and my handle is at Grace Kuria KE on Twitter. My name is Grace Kuria Kanja. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Catherine Simaloy. Once again, welcome to the broadcast. Now tonight, Kenya Kwanza and Azimio leaders have maintained their hard stances on the no handshake deal, even as the dialogue between the two sides is expected to kick off officially next week to resolve the political standoff. Speaking in Nandi County, the deputy president, however, revealed that the government is in support of the talks at Bomas. Let's get more from Sheila Chalangat.
Hiyo mazungumzo iko Nairobi iendelee pale Bomas. Sisi tuko kazini, mimi na rais, we have no time. Mimi sina nafasi ya kwenda mazungumzo, rais hana nafasi ya kwenda mazungumzo. Sasa wabunge wako pale, ile watakubaliana watuambie kama iko kitu ya kukubaliana. Si uchaguzi uliisha? Sasa wenye kuamua kura ni nani? Sasa simulimaliza? Si mtaamua tena 2027? So wakuja tukutana kwa dope wakati huo.
Just days before the Kenya Kwanza and Azimio leaders officially continue their talks, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has once again emphasized that a handshake is not an option.
Nusu mkate, hiyo ni mambo ambayo hayawezekani. Hiyo ni ndoto ya mchana. It's not possible.
In what seems as a rejoinder, ODM party leader Raila Odinga today also maintained that they are not in for a handshake despite being involved in this second round of talks.
We've agreed, yes, we can talk. But we'll only talk so long as there is a conducive environment for talking. We have also said we do not want a share in Kenya Kwanza government. We do not want handshake. Hands which are tainted with the innocent blood of our people.
Gachagua, who was speaking at a church fundraiser in Nandi County, however, stated that the government is in support of the ongoing talks at Bomas.
Ile watakubaliana watuambie kama iko kitu ya kukubaliana. Si uchaguzi uliisha? Sasa wenye kuamua kura ni nani? Sasa simulimaliza? Si mtaamua tena 2027? So wakuja tukutana kwa dope.
Committee involved in this second round of talks will be expected to harmonize the agenda following the conditions set by both sides for the dialogue.
Wako Bomas ni sawa, ni vizuri wapige story kidogo, wapange mambo ya cost of living. Wewe unaendesha na rais, serikali unaendesha. In any case tumekubaliana hakuna handshake. Number 2, wao sasa ndio tunangojea watangaze. Niliambia Kimani Ichung'wa kabla hamjaanza agenda, waje watu watangaze ya pili. Ya kwanza washasema hawataki nusu mkate. Sasa watangaze ya pili kwamba hawataki vita. Hiyo ya pili tu ikiisha, tick.
Talks are set to resume next week. Sheila Chelangat for TV47 in Nairobi.
Right, thank you so much, Sheila Chelangat, for that report. Let's move on, and President William Ruto has challenged African leaders to deliberate on decisions to increase trade among its nations. This, he says, will boost trade in the region, noting that African countries should eliminate barriers to trade in order for investors to exploit opportunities in the continent. Dennis Otieno reports.
President William Ruto now says the Africa continent has a duty to make deliberate decisions to increase trade among its nations. Speaking in Mozambique during the Mozambique-Kenya Business Investment Forum, President Ruto said African countries should eliminate barriers to trade in order for investors to exploit opportunities in the continent.
Bringing together the three economic communities, EAC, SADC, and COMESA, will build a market of close to 720 million people with a GDP of $1.3 trillion. And therefore, we will give ourselves, as about 28 countries, an opportunity to trade within ourselves, eliminate barriers, reduce bureaucracy, and also tear down unnecessary impediments.
According to the head of state, there is the desire and aspiration that the continent should create a common market free from obstacles in order to prosper.
Instruments we are putting in place, whether it is the tripartite agreement, whether it is the Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, or the pre-exim settlement facilities we are putting in place, will give us an opportunity, give our business people an opportunity to escalate intra-African trade to where other regions are. In Asia, it's at 60%. In Europe, it's at 70%. But in our continent, it's only at 16%.
On his part, President Felipe Nyusi of Mozambique said there were opportunities for investments in the field of agro-processing, production of flowers and infrastructural development, among other sectors.
The Republic of Kenya and its business people constitute for us an ideal partner with which we intend to share opportunities of investment in various domains. And that's the reason that we alleviate the issue of visas. And if there is anything else that we can do as governments, we will facilitate more and more.
Meanwhile, President Ruto has assured Kenyans in diaspora that the government will continue to carry out reforms aimed at improving service delivery.
Thank you, Dennis Otieno, for that. Now, a somber mood engulfed a village in Bamba, Kilifi County, as 5 children who died after consuming poisonous mushrooms were laid to rest. And as Elizabeth Otieno now reports, the children are said to have consumed the deadly mushroom due to hunger, with residents now urging the government to intervene and offer relief food to the affected families to avert more deaths.
Tears, pain, sorrow, and a cloud of darkness have engulfed the home of Juma Charo in Kitendewa village, Kilifi County. This family is mourning the death of 5 children aged between 6 to 14.
Mimi ni mzazi wa watoto 8, lakini nimepoteza watoto 4.
The 5 met their untimely death on the 25th of July, just 3 days after consuming a poisonous mushroom.
Mimi mwenyewe niliondoka Bamba Hospital na watoto 3 kuelekea Kilifi Hospital. Nilipofika Ganze, kuna kijana anaitwa Edi akawa amezirai. Oxygen ikawa imekata kwa yule ambaye alikuwa anapumua na oxygen. Tukaingia kwa hospital, wakamsaidia kumbofya kwa kifua. Yule Ed akapiki kuendelea kupumua. Tukakimbizana pale, tukapata oxygen nyingine, tukabidi tukimbizane kuendelea na safari yetu Kilifi. Tulipofika Kakanjuni, mtoto akaaga na alikuwa amepakatwa na mamake.
The deceased were laid to rest in 3 separate graves. The lastborn was buried near his father's homestead. The first child to die was also laid to rest in a separate grave. The remaining 3 were laid in one big grave next to each other in line with the Mijikenda tradition. Distraught residents have called on the government to supply relief food in Ganze, Kilifi County to prevent children from consuming the poisonous mushrooms due to starvation.
Mapato yalikuwa kidogo kwa sababu ya hali ya anga, mvua ilikuwa kidogo, watu waliingia mashambani, lakini mapato yalikuwa chini.
Vile vile ningeomba kila shule, kila mwalimu awe akifundisha watoto. Kuna mushroom aina nyingi, kuna mushroom za sumu, kuna mushroom zinaliwa na kuna mushroom haziliwi.
Well-wishers have offered financial support to the bereaved family, now left with only 4 children following the demise of the 5. Elizabeth Atieno, TV 47.
Really unfortunate there, and thank you, Elizabeth Atieno, for that report. Moving on, victims of the 1998 U.S. Embassy bomb blast on Saturday held a second meeting with their American-based lawyer Philip Mussolino and their representative Dr. Ramona Tasco, where the lawyers gave a detailed explanation as to why the 25-year journey to compensation has taken longer than expected.
We originally lost in our lawsuit against Al-Qaeda. We originally lost because the judge determined the Kenyans can't be in an American court suing a Middle Eastern terrorist organization. We went up to the Court of Appeals, and the Court of Appeals this time reversed and determined that to take the senator's point, that because the attack wasn't directed at Kenyans but was directed at the United States, that American courts could exercise jurisdiction over the defendant. It's hard to explain to people why the American litigation process takes decades. It doesn't always, but in the complicated cases where judges are dealing with complicated issues of jurisdiction, terrorism, and damages in the billions of dollars, it's not always easy to get the court to do things on the schedule we would like it to be done.
It's a nice way of saying discrimination because of race. It makes it more comfortable to the offender to consider that perhaps they have not been fair.
They know this is the right time for them now to amend the law for these funds and include Kenyan victims in this fund and compensate them, and that will settle every struggle for these 25 years.
We sit back with a lot of anger and we look at ourselves as useless people, as sufferers, when the media or the newspapers are saying that we've been compensated. We've never been compensated. All the things you read on the newspapers are lies. Here.
Right. Now, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua now says the government will begin a fresh phase of registration of farmers as it distributes subsidized fertilizers. Speaking during a working visit to the North Rift, the DP said the fresh registration targets farmers who were not put in the system initially. Now, according to the DP, the subsidy program has been a success, adding that farmers who benefited from the initial phase are bound to record a bumper harvest this year. He says the president has directed the National Treasury and National Cereals and Produce Board to allocate adequate funds for the purchase of the maize, promising faster payments.
Tutakuwa na registration nyingine ya fertilizer phase 2. Saida tulitangaza, kuna wengine walikuwa nafikiria ni mchezo. Tunatangaza another program. Sasa muambie watu wenu wawachane na mambo ya maandamano, wawachane na mambo ya sufuria kwa kichwa, waende wajiandikishe, wachukue fertilizer, waende kwa shamba. Hapo ndio maneno iko. Hii maneno yote inaishia kwa shamba. Sasa watoe hao kwa street, waarudishe wapi? Nimeona huyu anaitwa sijui analia. Watu wetu hawana fertilizer. Hawa ndio waliambia wananchi hii fertilizer hakuna. Hii fertilizer hawezi saidia. Nyinyi wachana na fertilizer, ingie kwa barabara, chukueni mawe, weka sufuria kwa kichwa, choma magari ya watu, umiza watu. Hivyo ndivyo waliambia wananchi. But I'm glad they have realized the folly of what they were telling the people. They have come to the realization that the only way to bring down the cost of living is through enhanced productivity and increasing of the yield in our farms. Na tunawakaribisha hao kwa mambo ya ukulima, tumewakaribisha wakuje tukae na hawa kwa mambo ya ukulima.
And still on matters agriculture, now the second phase of the implementation of the Galana Kulalu Food Security Project is expected to be ready in December this year. According to the Water, Sanitation and Irrigation Cabinet Secretary Alice Wahome, the project is currently 97% complete. The target is to have 20,000 acres put under irrigation after the construction of the Galana Dam. The CS noted that the endeavor will not only enhance food security, but also increase beneficiary income and promote industrial crop cultivation through manufacturing.
And from here, the 495 acres they are doing on maize at different stages. I think in the next maybe 6 weeks, we will be harvesting actually different farms of the 495 acres. Yeah. And therefore, it's something we want them to spread to the 10,000. They are going to take, Twiga will take 20,000 acres. We do have enough water. We have done our estimates. We have enough water to irrigate 10,000 acres here. We need an answer to food security. And of course, you know where we are on the price of unga. By the time Peter gives me 10,000 acres here of maize, I think the price of unga will start feeling the heat so that it will be going down. Okay. And from here, we are going to move to other places.
Yes, so the pilot runs for 3.5 months, 1 or 5 days. The first planting is 73 days old. We'll start harvesting mid-September. Not a while from where we are now. But we will complete the final harvesting by end of September, first week of October, thereabout. So by October end, we'll have the results of the trials, speaking about all these 3 different situations of factors production that I've talked about. And at the end, we'll now have what you call a final standard production blueprint, which will then roll and implement across the 10, 20, 30, 40,000 acres that we'll take over as we progress.
Now, health officials have raised an alarm over increased cases of dysentery, typhoid, and other waterborne diseases in the expansive Mwea irrigation scheme. During a free medical clinic organized by Kenyatta National Hospital Annex at Ngurubaini Primary School, doctors registered a higher number of patients suffering from waterborne diseases. Dr. Rebecca Mutisia, the director in charge of clinical and nursing services at the Kenyatta National Hospital in Othaya, said this is attributed to the consumption of contaminated water.
Shida ile tuko nazo hapa Mwea ni shida ya maji. Maji yetu ni iko na uchafu sababu ya shida ya irrigation, Mwea irrigation bond. Ile mashamba tunalima ya mchere kuna maji machafu. Watu wanakunywa, wanagojeka, mambo ya dysentery, magonjwa ya dysentery. Alafu kwa sababu maji si masafi, hiyo kuna kuanga na shinda. Hata wadudu, iko wadudu kama tapeworm, watu wakinywa, hata wakinywa anagojeka. Sasa tunasema ni asanti sababu leo tutasaidika. Wakati mwingine tunapata, wakati mwingine tunaambia tukanunue. Na kuna shida ya pesa, sasa unaona mtu anaenda anatibiwa, anaambiwa aende akanunue dawa na anakosa pesa. Baridi ya maji, ukiingia kwa shamba, watu wanagojeka mambo ya baridi. Watu wanakuwa na shida ya migongo, miguu kwa sababu ya baridi.
Now, emotions ran high in Luanda's sub-county, Vihiga County, during the funeral service of two young men, Brian Akala and William Amulele, who succumbed to injuries sustained during the Azimio protest late last month. In Nyalenda area, Kisumu County, leaders who attended the service led by Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga condemned what they termed as state-sponsored murders, insisting that nothing will stop their quest for justice for the affected families. Let's get more from Arnold Adidi.
Wote walikuwa watoto wa heshima. Brian nimemlea, nimemchukua kutoka kwa mama yake. Brian amekuwa akinisaidia.
Overwhelmed by the pain of losing their loved ones, families of the two cousins, Brian Aluhala, aged 22, and William Amulele, painfully narrated how they witnessed their sons being beaten to death in broad daylight by policemen who claimed to be restoring calm in the area at the peak of the opposition-led protests late last month.
Wakanisukuma, wakaniingiza kwa gate, wakaniambia funga gate. Nikaja kama watoto wamelala hapo wanapigwa na kila mtu. Nilikimbia kwa nyumba na sikuweza, nikaita mzee wangu akakuja, akafukuza mzee wangu akamwambia rudi ndani. Nikakaa kidogo, nikasikia uchungu, nikatoka tena nje kwenda kuangalia penye watoto wanapigwa. Sikupata watoto hapo. Nikaenda kwa nyumba nikapata watoto wamelala kwa nyumba.
The two boys really struggled for their lives in ICU until on Wednesday 26th. That's when Brian passed on. Then the following Saturday, that was on 29th, William followed suit. So it's about, it was, we have undergone a lot of pain as a family to lose the two boys in that pathetic manner, in the brutal hands of the police, who are merciless.
It is alleged the duo met their untimely death while at their home, with the family refuting claims that they took part in the protests.
Vijana wangu wawili na kwa niwachukulia nyumba karibu na mimi penye huwa analala. Sasa ikifika saa ya maandamano huwa anawaambia muende kwa nyumba mjifungie ndani. Kwani wananisikia wanaenda kwa nyumba wanajifungia ndani. Sasa hiyo siku kitu saa 8:30 nikasikia jirani ananiambia Nyamalo umekaa kwa nyumba na watoto wako wanauliwa. Nisimama kwa mlango, nikakimbia, nikaenda kwa gate, nikafungua gate, nikapiga magoti, nikapata watoto wamelalishwa hapo wanapigwa. Nikaambia watoto wangu wakuwa kwa maandamano waachilie. Haya maskari wakaniambia mama kwenda huko, sasa hivi wakirusha nao ulikuwa wapi? Nikaambia watoto ambao hawakurusha, watoto wamekuwa kwa nyumba.
Leaders present, led by the opposition leader Raila Odinga, denounced the unprecedented police brutality, saying it goes against the Maputo Protocol.
Kitendo ambayo imefanya ni kitendo ya unyama. Sasa kwa sababu wanajua kuna ushahidi ya kutosha ya kumshtaki yeye katika mahakama ya ulimwengu, ameenda juzi anaweka sahihi kwa ile mkataba unaitwa Malabo. Ati Malabo Protocol. Hii Malabo Protocol ati itamlinda yeye hawezi kushtakiwa hata akifanya unyama hapa. Sisi kama Azimio tutasimama imara na tutazidi kutetea haki ya Wakenya. Na tutahakikisha kwamba haki imetendeka. Damu ya hawa vijana haitaenda bure.
Come's recent sentiments that the opposition wing hired dead bodies was condemned, with the leaders maintaining that the IG must go.
Ati anasema sisi tulienda mochari, tukaiba mwili, tukasema polisi ndio wameiba hiyo mwili. Hao watoto wamelala hapa. Hao watoto wameibiwa mochari. Si wanapigwa risasi? Huyo Kome mimi namwambia Kome zaidi.
Arnold Adidi, TV47.
Thank you, Arnold Adidi there. Now, Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu has urged the Kuria community to shun female genital mutilation and instead champion for the education of the girl child. According to the CS, the community can only achieve meaningful development if the girl child is educated. He said education is the only equalizer that will put the Kuria girls at par with the rest of the girls in Kenya and the world at large. Now, Machogu was addressing parents, teachers and education stakeholders at Kwiho Mixed Secondary School during an education day for Kuria region.
Mama yangu itakuwa jamilele.
Ile tu. Hii mambo ya FGM ngali kwa dunia hii. Naro amanganaji. Abana watebele naro, abana watebele tai. Hiyo mambo iko hata siku hizi. Unajua hiyo ikiwa hapa kwetu kweli, kwa sababu mimi ni wa hapa, hiyo itakuwa aibu. Kwa sababu wataalamu wa sayansi wameona hiyo kitu ikifanyika vile na duru binadamu, vile nalete maafa, vile nalete tabu, na haina sababu yoyote. Sasa hatuwezi shughulikia na kuendelea kufanya kitu ambaye haina faida kwetu, ambaye kweli wataalamu wa sayansi, madaktari wameonyesha ya kwamba ni kitu inaleta maafa, ni kitu inaleta taabu kwetu. Kwa hivyo hiyo ni tabia ambaye kama iko pahali moja mbili inahitaji ize katika sehemu yetu hii. Mimi mwisho nataka kuhakikishia leo tumeweka foundation stone hapa, si ndio? Na nimeelezwa na mheshimiwa na niambia ataongeza pesa kutoka ile tulitoa milioni 10, na mimi kwa sababu niko hapa leo kuna mashule ambaye mheshimiwa nakuja, najua alinipatia, nilikuja na pesa yake mashule mawili, lakini
so tuko kwa shule na kuna mashule mengi ziko hapa, na kukuja hapa kwetu ni mambo ya maendeleo ili tuendeleshe mambo ya elimu ya watoto wetu.
Right, it's time for some sports stories now. And as the finals of the national level at the Kenya Secondary School Games culminated Saturday afternoon, St. Anthony Kitale were crowned the champions in the boys' football after defeating Dagoretti High School 2-0 in a high-octane final. Our reporter Duncan Mutua attended the games and filed the following report.
Today marked the final day of the National Secondary School Games, a final day sports bonanza held in Kakamega County. A final day, and fans started streaming in at the Buhungu Stadium for an entertainment affair between finalists St. Anthony Kitale and Dagoretti High School from Nairobi. Oyugi Ogago were the first to bag the trophy of the day after beating Boko Holo 54-40 in the ladies' netball finals.
We have made it. Yes. We have really made it. Our girls became stronger than the opponent, and we gave them a range of 14, which is a remarkable range with the finals.
There was disappointment in ladies' volleyball finals after defending champions Kwandanze lost against rivals Kesogon, falling to a 3-1 defeat.
Mwaka jana nilipigwa, na unajua kama huko mashindanoni unapigwa unaenda tengeneza penye umepigiwa. Nilikuwa najua hii timu ni ngumu na ina coach experience, wachezaji pia experience, because last year ndio waliweka Afrika nzima. Nilikuwa najua kwamba nakuja, nikaongea na wasichana wakanihakikishia kwamba watakuja kufight.
It was a very tough game. We appreciate our opponents who have won it.
and I can attest that it was a fight.
Football. Butere Girls are the new champions after defeating champions Uyeta Girls 1-0 in the finals.
We have played 2 matches with Uyeta Girls and they beaten us. But this time we came and followed the coach's instruction, and we know that we will win.
Men's football final was filled with entertainment, as St. Anthony counted on their on-form forward Andrew Kibet, who scored as Nairobi champions Dagoretti fell to a 2-0 defeat, as the Solidarity Boys from Trans Nzoia County were crowned as the new football champions.
But tulikuja ka tumetulia kwa hiyo game, tukasema hii game lazima to win. We have to be the champs because we are always the champs. So game haikuwa rahisi, but tulimanage kuwin. Na nashukuru Mungu, yeye ndiye ametufanya tumeshinda hizi game.
And fans had this to say.
Nimefurahia sana kwa wasichana wetu kupata kikombe. Kweli tumezaa wasichana wenye nguvu na tumewalisha ugali. First lady was supposed to come and be with us because she was in Butere Girls.
And today we have marked the end of the National Secondary School Games here at the county of Kakamega, where we have witnessed a sports bonanza in the last 5 days. Reporting for TV47 Sports, I'm Duncan Mutua Askofu.
Thank you, Duncan Mutua, for that. Now, record FKF Premier League champions Gor Mahia Saturday afternoon showed their full intent to dominate the league even further after being crowned the champions of the FKF Charity Shield Cup to kick off the new season in style. The fixture, which pits FKF Premier League champions against Mazatbet champions, saw Gor securing a 4-2 victory over Kakamega Homeboys in post-match penalties after the match ended in a 1-1 stalemate in normal stoppage time.
Kitu cha msingi sana tena muhimu sana kuangalia level ile tupo katika hiyo mechi yetu against Al Hilal, na so far so good. Kuna mambo mengi nimeona nzuri ile, na pia kuna yale mnasema si mazuri ya kurekebisha, na ndio tutafanya kazi kwanza hii wiki. So far so good, naona timu tuko sawa.
Well, first of all, thank you for the organization of it, to the FKF, and also for Kakamega Homeboys for giving us a really good game. I think, obviously, it's still, it's a glamorous pre-season game. Let's call it what it is. You want to win it because winning is a habit. But we're another 2 weeks away from full fitness. Probably Homeboys maybe started pre-season a week or two earlier than us because they have the Confederations Cup, and we wish them well in that. But I thought it was quite an evenly matched game, as it always is between ourselves and Homeboys. And yeah, we're quite disappointed to concede the goal in the way it does. We can't attach any blame to the young goalkeeper because the wall has to do its job.
And KCB RFC secured its place in the semi-finals of the ongoing Christie Sevens leg of the National Rugby Sevens circuit after topping the group stages of the games at the RFUA grounds Saturday afternoon. In their opening match, Austin Sikutua scored a hat-trick of tries, while Eugene Omondi and Bramwell Kilwake also crossed the white chalk to touch down for the Bankers and secure a comfortable 26-7 win over the Catholic Monks. In their second encounter against Kisumu RFC, the Bankers rallied to a 15-10 victory before making light work of varsity side Strathmore Leos with a 40-0 drubbing.
I think it's a perfect finish for us. We've got 3-on-3, so that's the biggest target that we had as a team. So it's now focusing on the knockouts, a game at a time. Whoever will come away between Mwamba and Oilers, they're the leading the other side. So one of them is going to play us tomorrow in the quarters as we continue forging our way forward. So it's a